Alright, so like we said, we're gonna do a basically a review, and I think we're in lesson what, 10 now or 9?
9.
Did we finish 9?
We finished dialogues for film.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lesson 9 was pretty big lesson. It had a lot of stuff in it. But we're gonna go back from the beginning and then just do like a review of everything, from including book 1 and the first part of book 2. Okay, but if you have any special topics you want to review, then just let me know, and if I have time we can do it today, and if not, then we can go over it on Wednesday, inshallah. Okay, so first thing that we do is we break down every word that we come across into 3 categories, right? So what's the first one?
Ism.
Is an ism. Write it in Arabic first. And which is called in English?
Noun.
A noun. Okay, a person, place, thing, idea, like that. Okay. And then what's the second thing? Fi'l.
Yeah.
Which is a verb. Right, and this is he did something, she did something, they did. So it basically includes both the subject and the action that is being done by the subject. Okay, fair. And what's the last one? If it's not an ism or a fi'l, then it's a harf. Okay. Harf
Particle.
is a particle. Excellent. Harfun is a particle. Okay. So this corresponds pretty easily to English, but in English there's more categories, like we said, right? There's conjunctions, there's adverbs, there's whatever other stuff too. But most of that in Arabic can be like a subcategory of a noun. Okay, so it's pretty simple. So we talked about nouns first, right? And the special thing about a noun, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How you doing? So what's special about what's the relationship between fi'l and ism? I guess that's the question I was gonna ask. We haven't discussed it specifically, but have you noticed that there's something that relates a verb and a noun, that can relate a verb and a noun? What would be the relationship between a verb and a noun?
Fail is the action of the doer.
Mm-hmm.
So doer and actor, I think.
Okay. The doer, the fi'l is the action, right? We said the fi'l has a subject, and it has someone who's doing the action and the action that's being done.
Right.
Right? So he closed, or he opened, or she ate, or they sat. Those are all types of verbs because they have someone who's doing the action, and they have something that's being done. But what I'm saying is that, let's say you have a word like an ism, like let's say masjid, masjidun, okay, or you have an adjective like karimun. Okay, or you have let's just take these 2 words, okay? Is there anything that would tell you that this is related to you know that this is an ism, right? Mm-hmm. Because it has the triptode at the end, it has the 2 dhammas at the end. What is it about these nouns that relates it to the fi'l?
The status or the marfu, ending sound. But it
That's
could
what
be-
makes it a noun, right? When you say masjidun, you know that it's a noun because you have the noun ending, which is two harakats, right?
Jahaba ilal masjid.
Okay. You can. I'm not saying relate like that. I'm saying the word itself.
Yeah.
What is it? What is in the word itself that relates it to a verb?
Oh,
I
three-
guess, what exactly you asking, we don't know.
like three-letter
Didn't
word or
understand.
four-letter.
Say that again.
Three-letter word, it can be, both can be three-letter word.
What can be three-letter words?
I mean, noun and verb.
What is that called? The three-letter word.
Root.
The root. Okay, that's what I'm trying. I know. I said we didn't explain this before.
Yeah.
What I was trying to get at was that the root connects the ism to the fi'l, right? Not every, but most of the nouns they go back to a three-letter root that is originally a verb. Okay, so masjidun goes back to a verb, sajada, right? Which means to, sajada means to prostrate. Okay, it means to go down and prostrate. So the word noun masjidun comes from sajada, which means he prostrated. So masjid is a place of prostration. Karimun is, if you go back to the three-letter root, is from the verb karuma. Okay? So karuma means he became noble, or he became pleasant, or something like that. So the word karimun, which is a noun, means noble or generous, right? So the whole point, the point is that the isms and the fi'ls are connected by the three-letter roots. Okay, these three-letter roots determine, where. The three-letter roots of the verb determines what the noun is. Okay. And from this noun, I think we said before, like you can get different verbs, different nouns. So you can get from sajida, you can get masjid. Sajida, you can get sajid. Sajidun means the one who prostrates. Okay, so sajidun is an ism, but it's the same three-letter roots as masjid. Okay, so that's where the connection is. Sajida. I know it's like a high concept, we just came back.
I did not
Maybe it wasn't the best
understand.
question to start off the whole.
No, I didn't understand
New Year
exactly
with-
what you want to know.
But everyone gets this point, right?
Yeah.
We've been going over the
Three-letter with root.
three-letter roots goes back to the noun. Okay. All right, let's go back to something before that, easier. Okay, so what is this tanween ending?
Marfu.
It's called marfu, right? So there's three tanween endings because there's three vowel marks, right? There's dhamma, fatha, and kasra. So when you have dhamma, you call it marfu, or sometimes they also say raf, right? And then with the fatha, they call it mansub, or the nasb. And with the kasra, they call it majrur, or they call it jar. Okay. All right. So these endings are on the isms. Okay. These endings are on the isms for most of the nouns. Okay. But like we just learned in lesson 9 of book 2, we know that not everything that has a fatha is mansub, right? Not everything that has a kasra is majrur. The examples we're going to come to later on. But for the most part, if I have something like, let's say sajidun, well, I know that this is marfu', but I can also make it mansub, but I have to put something before it to make it mansub, right? So how do I get something that's like sajidun into sajidan? You have to add a particle like inna, okay? All right. So inna means what?
Indeed.
Indeed, right? It's a particle of what is it called? Inna is a particle of what's that word? To give more
Emphasis.
emphasis. Thank you. Emphasis. The particle of emphasis. it gives emphasis to the noun that's being followed. So if I say inna sajidan, it means indeed sajid. I'm giving emphasis to the word sajid. Okay, that will make sajidun into sajidan. What about what are the other words that are
Sisters.
like sisters of inna?
Kanna,
Ka'anna. Okay, what does ka'anna mean?
but,
Nope,
no.
that's lakinna.
Oh,
Lakin.
kanna
Lakinna
means as
means-
if. Kanna means as if.
Okay, let's write this down. Lakinna means but. Okay, ka'anna
As if.
as if.
That's it.
What else?
Anna,
Anna means
that.
that.
In the.
Inna we said means indeed.
In
Lianna.
lian.
Li'anna or bi'anna means
So, because.
because, yeah, let's say because. Yeah, because of, yeah, or because.
La'alla,
La'alla,
maybe.
perhaps, or actually, so la'alla has two meanings. If you remember when they introduced la'alla, they said it expresses both fear and hope.
Hope.
So it can mean I hope or I fear. Okay? So if I meet someone on the street and I haven't seen them in a while, I can say la'allaka bi khair. Right? It means I hope that you are good. La'allaka bi khair. Or if I hear something, if I hear some bad news about it, you can say لعلها مريضا. لعلها مريضة. I fear that she is sick, right? I'm afraid that she is sick. Right? لعلها مريضة. So you can have both of that, or it just means maybe, or perhaps, something like that. Yeah, you can put that in there. Perhaps. So it's in the Quran too, right? كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that in hopes that you would, so the fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that in hopes that perhaps you would gain taqwa. Okay?
Brother Hassan, along that line, why in La ilaha illallah we say Muhammadur Rasulullah, in Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah we say Muhammadur Rasulullah. So Muhammadan and Muhammadan.
Those are two different statements, right? One is the simple La ilaha. So when you say La ilaha illallah, right? You say Muhammadun Rasulullah. Okay? So here Muhammadun is what? Marfu, mansub, or majroor?
Marfu.
Marfu, right? And the reason it's marfu is because this is a complete sentence. Okay? It's a good time to review this as well. So, is it a nominal sentence or a verbal sentence?
Nominal.
Nominal sentence because it starts with
Noun.
a noun, right? So nominal. So there's two sentences, like we said. There's verbal, which starts with a verb, and a nominal sentence. Sentence says verbal, nominal. Okay. So it starts with a noun, right? So here is a noun. What is it? What is a noun? What is it called in Arabic? No. What are the two parts of a nominal sentence? Mubtada and khabar, right? So it starts with a noun, and it has two parts. Mubtada and khabar. So one is mubtada, which is called what in English? Subject. And the other is called khabar, which is called predicate or news, right? So when I have Muhammadun Rasulullah, what is Muhammadun? Is it the subject or the predicate? It's the subject, right? Because this is who I'm talking about, this is who I'm making a statement about. And what is the khabar?
Rasulullah.
Rasul, just Rasulu, because Rasulullah is okay, is what? What would we classify
Mudaf,
as?
mudaf ilayh.
It's mudaf, mudaf ilayhi, right? So here's my mudaf, and it's also the khabar, okay? And here's my mudaf ilayhi, okay? So I'm saying Muhammad is what? The Prophet,
Prophet.
okay? Of Allah is the mudaf ilayhi, okay? But here's the mubtada, here's the khabar, mubtada. Alright, but how does this answer your question? Because when you say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, that's making a statement. You're saying Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. When you say the whole kalima, you say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu what?
أن
Anna
محمدا عبده ورسوله.
ashhadu anna. Do you say Muhammadun, Muhammadan, or Muhammadan?
Muhammad, right?
Muhammadan. You say
Muhammadan.
Muhammadan. If you look in the little things that have all the kalimas written, you're gonna see it says Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu
ورسوله.
wa rasuluhu. Okay. All right. This is a complete sentence. Is it a nominal sentence or a verbal sentence?
It is a question, no. Ashhadu, shahad,
So let's look at the first word, ashhadu. We have to decide whether it's a noun or it's a verb.
أشهد is
It's a present
Pre-
or
It's a verb.
It's a verb, and it's a present tense verb of the past tense, shahida, right? So shahida means he witnessed, or he saw, or he, I think, yeah, you can say, yeah, he witnessed or he saw, okay? So, shahida, when it becomes present tense, it becomes yash,
يشهد
yashhadu,
تشهد.
yashhadu. So what would it be? What would be the second root in the past? It would be a kasra, so you would get an I. And then what letter would you put for the present?
Fatha.
Fatha, so an A, right? So the IA means that in the past tense there's a kasra on the second root, and then there's a fatha on the in the present tense. Okay. So let's do that. So quickly review the five in your pocket. Yashhadu, tashhadu, tashhadu, ashhadu, nashhadu. Right. So I witness is ashhadu. Ashhadu. I am bearing witness. What? Anna. Anna means that. Okay? So Anna now is a sister of Inna. That means whatever noun that comes after it, it has to be mansoob. Okay? So when you say Anna Muhammad, you have to put two fathas in it because it's mansoob. Anna Muhammadan abduhu, which means what's abduhu? His slave. Whose slave? Allah's slave. So the who goes back to Allah. Wa rasuluhu means his prophet and his prophet. Whose prophet? Same thing as abduhu, Allah's prophet. Okay. So this I think we do, I don't know if we looked at it before or not, but so these two are different statements, but they're the same statements essentially, right? They're both saying that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah, but one is saying I bear witness, right? And with the other is just saying the statement. They both mean the same thing, but they have different endings because they're different. They're in a different sentence. Okay?
It can also be majroor, right? Muhammad in some cases.
Yeah. Where is it majroor? Allahumma. what's Allahumma? It means oh Allah. Okay. Salli we haven't done, but it's fi'l amr. It's a command or a request. Okay. It means send salutations or send peace on Muhammad. So because what's ala?
Preposition.
Yeah, what do you call that in Arabic?
Hamza.
Harf jar, right? Harf jar means that it's a preposition, so that the ism that follows it is
Majroor.
majroor, right? So here it's majroor. So it's called, you call this jar majroor. Jar wa majroor.
That's right.
Right, so you have three places where there Muhammadun is mansub, marfu', Muhammadan mansub, and then Muhammadin majroor. Okay. If you remember these three statements, then you basically know the whole the three cases of the nouns. Okay. These are the only three cases that a noun will ever be in. Okay. So just memorize Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin. There's actually a very good dhikr too. You can say the whole thing though. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Alright. Okay, so we actually did a lot of review just right there, right? So we reviewed majroor. We reviewed anna. We reviewed mudaf ilayhi.
Jar majroor.
Jar majroor. Okay, what's the thing with mudaf ilayhi? What's like which of it? I mean, what is marfu? What is mansub? What is majroor? In the mudaf ilayhi, like any time I have mudaf ilayhi, what is it that is the marfu part? What is the mansub and what is the majroor? Let me put another new example. Let's say, let me give a new example. Suratul An'am. Okay. So you have this word Suratul An'ami. Okay? This is mudaf ilayhi. How do you know it's mudaf ilayhi? Because the mudaf is always what? Marfu', and then the mudaf ilayhi is always
Majroor.
majroor. Okay? There's a mudaf ilayhi will never have a mansub.
Must be
Okay.
majroor.
Yeah.
Let's just say mudaf ilayhi is indefinite.
Mudaf ilayhi.
Al.
Definite.
Actually, neither of them are indefinite.
Oh.
They're both definite.
Both definite.
They're both definite. Why? Because here you have only one dhamma, right? Only one. You cannot have tanween on mudaf, okay? And then the the mudaf ilayhi has to be definite, okay?
So mudaf cannot begin with al, right? That's why it's definite, but it's definite, implied.
Mudaf cannot begin with yes. So the mudaf, we said one of the rules was it
Cannot start with al.
cannot have al. Cannot have
And
al.
it's definite.
Right, but it is definite, and it is actually it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be marfu'. That's the thing. Actually, yeah. I mean, how do I explain this? Yeah. So here's an example. What if I said, what I was going to say was, I think I made the mistake of saying that this has to be marfu'. Don't actually write this down. Okay? This is actually wrong, right? Because what if I said hafiztu? Hafiztu. And I'm trying to say I memorized Suratul An'am. What do I have to change about Surah now?
Suratal.
I have to change it to Suratal, right? Because now I have an object So an object needs to have a fatha, and it needs to be mansoob. Okay? So this cannot have al, but it can be mansoob, or it can be majroor. Like if I say in Surat Al-An'am. So if I put fi here, I'm going to say fi Surah Al-An'am. Okay? So this can be marfu, mansoob, majroor. But this, the mudaf ilayhi,
Must be
majroor. That's the rule. Must be majroor. Okay? This will always be majroor no matter what. No matter if there's a fi there or hafiztu there or if it's just there by itself. So always be majroor. I'm trying to think of.
So then mudaf will be not marfu all the time.
Mudaf will, yeah, it can be different, right? So if it's fi in front of the surah, it has to be surati. It has to be majroor, right? So it can be either one of the three. I'm trying to think of an example with. Do you have book one on you by any chance? I think what time is it? I'm just looking at one example real quick. Okay, let me just use this then. Thank you. Well, okay, let me give another example. I'm not gonna pick that one. I'm gonna give another one. So let's say I have bintu. What's bintu? Daughter. Bintu Zainaba. Okay. Bintu Zainaba. So Bintu Zainaba means
Sister.
daughter of
Yeah.
Zainab. Okay. So let's see if this still fits the rule. Bintu cannot have al. That's true, right? Yes, it doesn't have al. It's definite, yes, because we removed the tanween, so we only have one dhamma. And we said that it doesn't have to be marfu, but it is in this case. Okay, when you get to the mudaf ilayhi, it says it must be majroor. So why does this not look like it's majroor?
Feminine.
What?
Mamnu sarf.
Mamnu min as-sarf, right? So here, mamnu min as-sarf means that it doesn't. It's a noun. Female names are mamnu min as-sarf, which means they don't get kasra. Okay, but they're still called majroor. Okay. In Arabic, when you want to explain this in Arabic, like the grammatical term, you would say bintu mudaf. Okay, Zainaba mudaf ilayhi majroor bil fatha. You would say majroor bil fatha. You would say fi mahalli nasbin, in the mahal, in the area or the status of nasb. Okay. لأنه, or you can say because it's mamnu min as-sarf, like you said. Okay? So if it's mamnu min as-sarf, it'll still be majroor, but it'll be majroor with a fatha. Okay, so just remember that. Alright. Really quickly, so how do you make something feminine? means player, right? Someone who's like playing sports or whatever. La'ibun. How do I make it feminine? How do I say so this is a male player. How do I make it a female player? La'ibatun. So I take off the tanween, I put a fatha on the ba, on the last letter, and then I add a ta marbuta. La'ibatun. Okay? There. How do I make dual? If I want to say two players, la'ibun. La'ibani. So I take off the tanween again, I put a fatha on the last letter, and an alif, and a noon with a kasra. La'ibani. Okay? What about if I want to make it plural, 3 or more players? La'ibuna. So here I add a dhamma on the last letter, and a waw alif. La'ibuna. Okay? What if I want to say 2 female players? La'ibatani. So here this ta marbuta goes back to a regular ta.
Yeah.
It goes back to a regular ta.
And
And then I still put the alif noon, la'ibatani. Okay? What if I want to say 3 or more female players? So I have la'ibatun. La'ibatun, but I want to say 3 or more players. I don't remember. Do you remember if I say sayyaratun, how do I make it plural? No. Sayyaratun. Right? So I put an alif ta. La'ibatun. Okay? Just like mu'minatun, muslimatun, alif ta. Okay? So those are just examples of how you get from male, singular, dual, plural, female, singular, dual, plural. Okay? Inshallah, Wednesday I'm gonna go over fi'l. So just practice doing, going over the verbs. Does anybody have any questions for this? No?
Today I was listening to Numan Siddiqui's one of the lectures, and he
Numan Ali
said,
Khan?
yeah, Numan Ali Khan, yeah.
Okay.
And in one of them he said the verbs are Allah in Quran implies verb to be temporary, and